We haven't finished our notes number 2, right? Did you guys finish all the? We haven't finished the notes number 2, right? So did you guys finish all the double shifting graph? Did you guys finish the double shifting graph? Yes or no? If someone want to let me check your answers and like all these 12 graphs, okay, maybe you can just take a picture and and send me over the picture. I can check your graphs. Oh, nobody. Yeah, maybe I can find a graph for you guys. 1 second. Yeah. Okay, let me show you guys how I do the second, how to do the last group. Okay, how I do the last group. Okay, last one we do. Okay, double shifting, cause why? Cause it's a graph as a double shifting, cause you get two curves, right? Cause of two curves. At the same time, if you shift both your supply curve and demand curve, so this is called a double shifting. But for each group, for each situation, to consider kind of the three scenarios. So for example, this one you decrease the supply curve, increase in D. But how I can do three graphs? Okay, you do decrease in supply greater than increase in D. Okay, this is the first graph. Second graph is just the opposite. If increase in demand greater than decrease in supply. Okay, the last one, if Z are equal to each other. Okay, this is how you can get three different graphs. Okay, supply, demand. So supply, demand. So supply, demand. Okay, let's change in another color, maybe blue. Okay, the first one, decreasing supply, kind of in terms of absolute value, okay, greater than increase in D. Okay, so what do I mean by this? So I shift my supply curve to left, right? Because the supply is decreasing. So I shift my supply curve to left, and by larger distance, by a lot, I just shift my supply curve to lot. But D now is increasing. I shift my demand curve to right, but just a little bit. Okay, then you find out the first intersection here, you label this one by E number 1. Okay, the second intersection here, you label this one by E number 2. Okay, you just then finally you compare E number 1 and E number 2. So the equilibrium price now is increasing and the quantity is decreasing. This is the first graph. Second graph, I shifted demand curve to right by a lot. Far away by larger distance. Okay, I shift my supply curve to left, but just a little bit. So E number 1 here, E number 2. Okay, so price is increasing. Okay, quantity here increases. Third one, be careful. Okay, third one, be careful. When these two chains like equal to each other, you shift both to these two curves by same distance. Okay, this much. And if I shift my supply curve, questions. Sorry for the error, but I don't think I have the PDF. You don't have the PDF, who still the notes number 2. Still the notes number 2. Okay, I can send you a new PDF here. Okay, in the chat box. Okay, in the chat box, you can get a PDF copy of notes number 2. Okay, go back to our graph. Okay, shift the demand curve right to shift the supply curve left, but by same distance. Okay, graphically you will find out quantity can be traded in market. Okay, no change. Actually, no change. Okay, and the price increase. Okay, then we done. Then finally you compare all these 3 graphs. Okay, what kind of conclusion you can get? So price for both for all these 3 graphs. Okay, price increase, price increase, price increase. So we sure about the price will increase, but we don't sure about how the quantity will change. Okay, your quantity can be lowered, can be increased, can be remain unchanged. It really depends on how far you shift your supply curve and demand curve. Okay, we kind of need more information to determine, yeah, how the quantity will change. So with these 3 graphs down here, so we can fill out this one, right? I said we are sure about the quantity. No, we're sure about the price will increase. So you guys fill this one by increase, but we don't sure about how the quantity will change. So this one is not sure. Okay, this is the last group. Did I show you guys how I draw the first group? Yes or no? Did I show you guys how I did the first group here, first 3 graphs? Yes or no? Do you guys need me to draw all other graphs for you guys, or you guys can do this graph by yourself? Okay, I will do all other. So this is a note. This is a last group. Okay, guys, I copied on these three graphs, but in the last box. Okay, in the last box. Finish. If you finish the last group, you can try this one maybe. Yeah, if you can try S increase but D decrease. The last group finish, right? Okay, so let's do the second last one. On the bottom of page number 6. Okay, this time we do supply increase and decrease. But first step, I guess, you need to write down like a kind of a three titles. Supply increases, okay, greater than decrease. And this one, supply decrease greater than supply increase. Okay, this one, supply increase equals to decreases. We're changing another color. If I shift the supply curve to right greater than, so I shift the supply curve far away by larger distance by a lot. Okay, to right, shifting a supply, no. Shift my supply curve to right by a lot, far away. I decrease my demand curve. Yeah, just a little bit. Okay, this is the first equilibrium cos E number 1. This is the second one called E number 2. Okay, this one I shifted demand curve to left. Okay, by a lot. I increase my supply curve just by a little bit. Okay, this one is called E number 1. Okay, this one is called E number 2. And so far, E number 2, so price decreases, price decreases. Okay, but the quantity for the first graph increase, but this one decrease. For the third graph, quantity remain unchanged. No. I should shift my supply curve to right. Okay, supply curve to right. Demand curve demand curve to left. So this one, quantity remain unchanged. Okay, but price decreases. Okay, this is a third group graphs. Okay, so you can feel this one by okay, like a price will decrease. Okay, price will decrease in the quantity. We are not sure about how the quantity will change. Okay, depends on the how far you shifted your supply current demand curve. Any questions? Any questions? No questions? Okay, so I guess I need to stop here for drawing this graph. Okay, I guess after this week, after this class, okay, all you guys need to like take a picture. Okay, for your notes number 6 and notes number 7. Okay, take a picture and send your picture to me, and then I will check all your graphs. Okay, so I can make sure everybody's graphs are right. Okay. After today's class, take a picture for your notes.
I'm at a family friend's house and I'm not even using my computer. I'm just like like I don't have anything. Like can I just like go on the
Okay. Okay.
what should I do? Should I go on the just screenshot, just draw it out with like on the PDF?
When you get home, you can draw your own graph. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
after you get okay. Uh yeah, after today's lecture, one more time, okay, take a picture for your notes number 6. Can I send it later? I can really send them around. Okay, after class, okay, take your time. Okay, after class, take a picture for note page number 6 and 7. Okay, so I can check how you guys are graph. Okay, let's move on. The last part, okay, the very last part, very last topic of notes number 2 is called the governmental price fixing policy. So last Sunday, we learned the supply demand model. Yeah, maybe the most important kind of a function, but what is a most important thing, we use a supply curve and the demand curve to find out where is the equilibrium price, right? And last week we learned something called the price discovery policy. Yeah, through the cooperation between buyer and the sellers, and when all the producers they send a new price signal, so everybody changes their production and consumption behavior, then step by step, finally we find where is the equilibrium point. Yeah, in the market system. So accordingly, you can find the corresponding price and the corresponding quantity. Yeah, this is the whole process is called price fixing, price discovery. Yeah. So what I mean in free market economy, in capitalism, price is determined by supply curve and demand curve. Okay, so determined by our market system, but not regulated by government. In socialism country, yeah, simply speaking, yeah, price of everything is regulated, decided by government. But one exception, okay, but one exception. Even in USA, in Canada, in capitalism country, for some special cases, for some special goods and services, the price of some special goods and services cannot be solely determined by government. No, no. Actually, what I want to say is the price cannot be solely determined by market system. Sometimes, for some reason, you need to do okay, kind of a governmental intervention in this supply and demand model. Okay, I mean sometimes, okay, so as a government, you think price of something cannot be solely determined by government. Okay, put it this in another way. Sometimes you think price of something cannot be very low or very high. So in that case, we should do something called a price fixing policy. If you think price of some public necessary goods like healthy care services, educational services, basic accommodation, all those things, right? For public interest, yeah, this kind of thing, the price of this public necessary goods cannot be solely determined by government. If the price of a public necessary goods determined by supply and demand curves are very high, so as a government, what you want to do, you want to lower the price a little bit, right? You want to lower the price a little bit. So this kind of a policy is called price ceiling. Is called price ceiling policy. But before we actually draw the price ceiling graph, let's finish first two terms here. The first one, binding policy. Okay, what do you mean by binding policy? If your policy actually can change market equilibrium, if your policy after you as a BC government, if you impose some kind of policy to the market system, if your policy actually can change the market, has actual effects on the market, then your policy is said to be binding policy. If your policy cannot change the market equilibrium, cannot change the P star Q star, then your policy is called a non-binding policy. Okay, this is the first term. Second term, secondary effect. In later chapters or next year in macroeconomics, we will learn so many different kind of so-called economic policies. But remember this, every and each type of economic policy has their positive side or negative side. Okay, positive side, those negative side effects, okay, can be called a secondary effect. Okay, secondary effects just means at the same time, okay, what a type of a policy, economic policy can generate, okay, like a positive effects and also negative effects, okay, to our market system. Okay, let's have an example here. So what is the called price ceiling? So let's say in this box, let's have a coordinating system, the supply and the demand curve. Okay, for example, this is a market for like a apartment, maybe rental market for apartment. And the apartment like this one just let's say just a studio rental market. Okay, studio just a very basic level accommodation. Yeah, if you cannot even rent a studio for yourself, you will become a homeless people. Yeah, this is a so we as a government we don't care about those luxury item, right? We as a government, the purpose here, the purpose of this policy, we just want to make everybody make sure that even for those lower income people, at least they can rent a studio in Vancouver. Otherwise, they will become homeless. But this rental market, if the price is determined by supply curve and demand curve, okay, the price still is very high. Let's say $2,000. Okay, still is super expensive. Okay, $2,000. The price is too high, right? So you want to lower the price. As a government, you think the price of just a studio, the rental price should not be very high. You want to lower the price. So how we lower the price? We set something called price ceiling. And to set a binding, effective price ceiling policy, remember your price ceiling must be lower than the initial P star. If the original price is $2,000, okay, you can do a price ceiling. You label this one by price ceiling. Okay, maybe $1,800, $1,700. Okay, as long as your price ceiling is lower than $2,000, then this policy is called a binding or effective policy. I mean, you cannot do a price ceiling exactly equal to $2,000 or about $2,000. In that case, okay, this kind of policy is called a non-binding policy. Non-binding policy has no effects on this market system. Nothing will change. Everything remain unchanged. Okay, nothing will change. Okay, so that kind of policy is called a non-binding policy. Okay, let's add my quantity line here. Okay, then the next step. Okay, so the good side effect, good effects of this policy is what? We can lower the price for those renters actually can find a studio to rent. Okay, what do I mean by those renters actually can find a studio apartment to rent? You see, when the price is lower, when the price has been lowered by $200, what happened in the market? So quantity demanded here increases. More and more people with a lower price, okay, want to rent apartment. So quantity demanded here increases. We label this one by QD. But don't forget, okay, there are two different types of market participants here in the market system. You don't forget how the supply side, the response to the price change. So quantity, some landlord, okay, due to the lower price, they are willing to withdraw from the market. They are not willing to rent their studio apartment to renters because the price has been lowered by $200. Okay, so some of them, okay, some landlord will withdraw the market. Okay, so quantity supplied will decrease. Okay, so Q quantity supplied is here. Okay, guys, if a now, so if a QD greater than QS, what is the difference called again? Still remember last week we just finished this. If a quantity demand greater than quantity supplied. If you know the answer, you can put your answer into the chat box. If a QD greater than QS, what is the gap here called again? No response. No response. If a QD greater than QS, with the lower price of quantity demanded here greater than quantity supplied, what is this like this difference called again? So this one is called shortage. Okay, so this one is called shortage because the demand greater than supply. Okay, we don't have enough apartments for every renter. Okay, the number of renters is greater than number of apartments available for rent. Okay, so this is called shortage. So this is a negative side of this policy. Okay, and one final question about this graph is after we add a price ceiling, how the quantity traded in the market change, increase or decrease? Okay, before we add on any governmental policy, initially Q star, like here, is the quantity can be traded in market, right? Right. This is a Q star equilibrium quantity. After we add a price ceiling, does the quantity actually can be traded in market increase or decrease? Increase or decrease? Should be decrease, right? Should be decreasing to here. Okay, some of you may think quantity can be traded in market will increase because based on your idea, you think, okay, more renters want to rent apartment, so the actual quantity can be traded in market increases, but that's wrong. Okay, I mentioned, okay, don't forget some landlords, they will withdraw from the market, so quantity supply will decrease. Right, so we produce this much, so we only produce this much. How come we can trade this quantity? Okay, so the quantity can be traded will decrease. Okay, will decrease. Okay, from here to here to QS. Okay, so this is a called price ceiling. The last graph of notes number 2, we do price floor. Okay, just pretty much the same thing, but this one you just consider everything like with an opposite way. So price floor this time as a government, you think you want to increase price of something. Have you guys heard about a minimum wage policy? Do you guys know minimum wage policy? Have you guys heard about this minimum wage policy? Do you guys know what is the minimum wage rate currently in Vancouver? Like the low is a standard. The low is a standard. The minimum price level, minimum wage level you can get to do some kind of a work. Like currently it's $16, right? $16 or so per hour. Okay, this is a by law. This is the minimum wage rate you can get for doing some kind of a job. Okay, this is called the minimum wage policy. I remember 10 years ago, 7 years, 8 years ago, the minimum wage policy in Vancouver was only $10 or $9. You see, this is a good example of a price, so-called price floor policy. Price floor is the minimum price a good or services can be traded with, regulated by government. Okay, using my example, okay, 10 years, let's see, the minimum wage in Vancouver is $10 per hour, but now already is it's $16 per hour. Okay, you see how market responds to this policy. So quantity, supply increase. Because now we can make more money. So more and more people, they are willing to enter into the market, labor market, to find a job. Because we can make more money, $6 or more. So more and more people, they want to supply their human resource. They want to find a job. But once again, don't forget how the demand side, those employers for saving their human resource cost, they lay off laborers actually. The quantity demand here you see decreases. Okay, so if a QS is greater than QD, what is the gap called again? If this one is a cost shortage, what about this one? What about this one? Does anyone remember if a quantity is supplied, this one is a quantity supplied. This one is a quantity demand. If a QS is greater than QD, what is the gap? What is the difference here called again? So this is a called surplus. You see a lot of people, they are willing to, a lot of job thinkers, they are willing to find a job, but they can't. Why? Because the quantity demanded has been lowered. Okay, so the actual number of the people who can really find a job also will decrease. Okay, similar conclusion we got from left-hand side graph. Okay, finally, you guys remember this. Okay, governmental intervention. Government every time when we have some type of a governmental intervention in the place, okay, will lead to decreased trading quantity. The actual number of transactions, the actual number of goods and services it can be traded in the market will decrease. Okay, very important. Okay, this is a kind of yeah. So when you have a price ceiling, price floor, yeah, you actually label this one by price floor. Yeah, when you have a price ceiling, price floor, you see every time the actual number of the actual number of goods or services that can be traded in market will decrease. Okay, if I dig deeper, okay, every time when you can reach to this market equilibrium point, right? When you can reach to market, if you're standing at these 2 points, when you reach to the market equilibrium point, supply equals to D. This is called equilibrium. Supply equals to D. But if you got this market disequilibrium, if a quantity demanded greater than quantity supplied, if quantity supplied greater than quantity demanded, then if you are trying to figure out what is the actual quantity can be traded in the market, the answer is the lesser quantity. Okay, if a QS does not equal to QD, then you find out that the lesser quantity is the quantity actually can be traded in the market. I mean, on your left-hand side, if a QS greater than QD, no, if a QS is less than QD, then QS, the lesser quantity, is the quantity actually can be traded in the market. Okay, on your right-hand side graph, okay, this time if a quantity supplied greater than quantity demanded, okay, then the QD, then the quantity demand is the lesser quantity, right? So this one is the quantity actually can be traded in the market. Any questions? No questions? Okay, no questions. Let's okay, let's do just a one or two like practical questions. Let's go to 2015. Okay, guys, let's try B and C. Okay, everybody together. Okay, everybody together. Let's try B and C. You guys should also have this have a copy for this question. Okay, so if you have a copy of you can go to 2015. Okay, the paper tested in the year of 2015 macroeconomics. Okay, let's try just a B and C. You cannot do all the questions, but just try B and C. Okay, let's check answers together. Yeah, maybe I can pick someone. Okay, maybe first student, maybe Sally. Can you hear me? Sally, what is the answer for question B? You can just open your microphone. Yeah. What is the answer for question B? Or you can input your answer into the chat box. Okay, maybe okay. If you didn't finish, that's okay. That's totally fine. But if you can tell me why this question is so hard for you, so where you find where is the most well, where is the part you find is like most difficult? Just tell me. Don't be shy. Just tell me, yeah, why you think this question is so hard. So like you don't know what is the price of floor?
I kind of don't know how to solve it.
You don't know what's your question again?
Like,
You don't know?
I do know what does it mean, but I'm not pretty sure how to solve.
Okay, okay. So if a government, so you got a first step, you got a graph here, right? You got a graph. This a graph just is supply and demand curve. Okay, so then you tell me where is the equilibrium point? Where is you got this graph. Do you know what is the market equilibrium? Where is the market equilibrium?
Mm.
Where is the equilibrium price?
It says the price floor is like 16.
16. No. In this graph, where is the market equilibrium?
Mm.
Market equilibrium. Where is the market equilibrium point?
Uh,
Oh,
where it arcs, isn't it like across is at 20?
yeah, 20. Yeah. That's right. So the equilibrium price now equals to $20. Okay. And the next step, we just finished price of floor, right? Okay, so what is the price of floor?
Price of floor,
Yeah, price of floor. Yeah, here.
isn't it 16?
Yeah, 16. But what is the definition for price of floor? Or why, as a government, you want to set something called the price of floor?
Uh,
You want to increase the price or lower the price?
increase.
Yeah, yes. You know that you want to increase the price. Okay, your idea is $20 for something is too low. Okay, based on some reasons, as a government, you want to increase the price.
Oh,
Okay, but you set the price of floor equals to 16. 16 is even lower than $20. So is it a policy binding policy or non-binding policy?
none?
Non-binding policy, yes. So non-binding policy cannot change the market at all. Okay, so which one you choose, a shortage or surplus or neither?
Neither?
Yes. Yes, yeah, you are right. Neither, yeah. Because a non-binding policy has no effects. It totally has no any effects on the market. So the market equilibrium point still remain unchanged, still here. Okay, at the market equilibrium point, supply curve equals to demand curve. Okay, so no shortage, no surplus. Okay, so your
Okay.
answer is right.
Okay.
Okay, next one. Okay, Cole has gone. Daniel, can you do question 3?
D.
Sorry, not question 3, the question C, question number C. Is a policy binding or non-binding?
Oh.
Question C, binding or non-binding?
No.
Non-binding?
Hmm.
The price ceiling equals to $12 and the initial PCR equals to 20. Is that a binding policy or non-binding policy? So
Uh-huh.
what is the price ceiling? Yeah, but what is the price ceiling? Why you want to set the cost something called price ceiling? You want to increase the price or lower the price?
Lower.
You want to increase the price or lower the price?
Lower.
Lower the price. That's right. That's right. Lower the price. Okay, so the initial lay price is 20, and you set a price ceiling. Actually, we can graph this price ceiling equals to 12. So what happened here? So what happened here? So if you set the price equals to 12, so quantity demanded here, quantity supplied here. So what is this gap called again? Shortage or surplus or neither? This is a demand curve and this is a supply curve.
Lower. Wait. The shortage.
Shortage, yes, yes, shortage. Yeah, that's right. So quantity demanded now equals to 24 units. Okay, just means all the consumers are willing to buy, how many units they are willing to purchase? 24 units. But all the producers, they only produce 12 units. Okay, so this is for sure called a shortage. Okay, price ceiling, a binding price ceiling will lead to shortage. Okay. Okay, that's it. Then if no other questions, let's move on to notes number 3. Okay, notes number 3 is about something called elasticity. Okay, guys, in the chat box, okay, in the chat box, you guys can get notes number 3. Okay, you can download, you can get notes number 3 from our chat box. Okay. Make sure you have a notes on your hand. Okay, number 3, we will talk about something called elasticity. Okay, maybe I need to make an introduction here, okay, regarding what is elasticity. From notes number 2, we learned about this. If a price increases, quantity demanded will decrease. Everybody knows this, right? This is called law of demand. If a market price increases, okay, if something is getting more expensive, people buy less. This is called law of demand. And the law of demand, we use the law of demand to describe how consumer, be careful how consumers they respond to price change, right? Law of demand, we use the law of demand to describe how consumers they respond to price change. Price increases, they buy less. This is note number 2. But in note number 3, we want to go one more step forward. We not only describe how the response to price change, we also want to measure, we also want to count how much. There's a keyword here relates to how much consumers they care about price changes, they respond to price change. Okay, let's have an example here. Okay, prices increases here, right? Let's see, price increased by 1 unit. Okay, the unit of a price, it must be dollar sign. Price here increased by $1. Okay, we want to ask, we already know, okay, after we finish notes number 2, based on law of demand, we already know like a quantity demanded will decrease. But we want to ask, this time we care about how many units the quantity demanded will decrease by. Okay, if we can find out this number, okay, this piece of information could be very, very useful. Okay, but in real life, we trade, we buy, we sell so many different products and services, and the different products have different units. So we want to get rid of this problem. We want to get rid of the problem. I mean, different units have different products have different kinds of units, like a 1 gallon gasoline, like a 1 bottle of water. Yeah, different thing has a different units. So it is better to do percentage change. If the initial price here equals to $10 and the price has been increased by $1, So that means that the price has to be increased by 10%. Okay, the price here has been increased by 10%. And accordingly, we want to ask what is the percentage decreased in terms of a quantity demanded level? Okay, my first example, if a price increased by 10% and the quantity demanded for the product lowered by 20%. Okay, the percentage changed here, 20% is greater than 10%. It's a greater than percentage increased in the price level. Okay, this means all the consumers, they care about the price change. Okay, when you see the price signal, right, a new price signal showing that, indicating that, okay, price has been increased by 10%. As the consumers, we change our consumption behavior really by a lot. Because 20% is greater than 10%. Okay, so that means that we care about the price change, or we are sensitive about the price change. Okay, but in economics, in our field, professionally speaking, we don't use this term sensitive, but we professionally speaking, we see currently the demand curve is elastic. Okay, sensitivity basically means elasticity. Okay, another example is here. Price still here increased by 10%, but the quantity demanded now only decreased by 5%. People buy less, yes, but the quantity reduced here, but they reduce the quantity purchased not by that much, but just a little bit. 5% is lower than a smaller than 10%. Okay, this means indicating that, okay, consumers, due to whatever the reason, okay, they are not sensitive about price change. Okay, professionally speaking, we see demand curve now is inelastic. Okay, demand curve is now inelastic. Okay, just means the consumers, they are not sensitive about price change. Yes, this is my two examples. This is about elasticity. Okay, we try to count, we will try to quantify, we try to measure how much consumers they respond to price change. Okay, do they will they like change their consumption behavior by a lot, by a larger percentage? Larger percentage means as long as greater than 10%. Or they will just like reduce the quantity by a little bit, like a 5%. So 5% is lower than 10%. So that means that they are not sensitive about price change, and the demand curve is not it's an inelastic demand curve. Okay, so my first example, okay, the first example, the relationship between price and the quantity demanded. Okay, actually, this whole thing is called the price elasticity for demand. For short, can be just called as ED. Okay, ED. E means elasticity. Okay, D means elasticity, price elasticity of demand. Measures how it change. Let's fill the definition here. Measures how, I should say how much. Measures how much a change in on price affects the quantity demanded. So let's next step, let's calculate something called elasticity coefficient. Okay, percentage change. What is a coefficient? Percentage change in quantity demand. Okay, over percentage change in on price. Okay, and the result you got here is called the elasticity coefficient. Okay, elasticity coefficient. So make sure you guys okay. I want to make sure everybody know how to calculate the percentage change. Do you guys know how to calculate percentage change? Okay, then we add one more formula here. Percentage change. Okay, equals to new number. Okay, minus old number divided by old number. Okay, and strictly speaking, times 100%. Okay, my example was here. If the initial original price is at $10, the price and increased by $1. So the new price is $11, right? So the new price is $11 minus old number divided by old number is $10. So 1 divided by 10. So times 100%. So equals to 10%. Okay, so this is how I get 10% here. So make sure you guys can calculate the percentage change. Okay, super important. Every time when you need to calculate elasticity coefficient, you need to do the percentage change. Okay, then next step, you just plug. So I want you guys to calculate here what is the elasticity coefficient for my first example and the second example. So what is ED here? Okay, if a price increase by 10%. If a price increase by 10%, quantity demanded decrease by 20%, what is ED here? You just plug these two numbers into our formula. What is ED? So what is ED here, guys? Can you send me the notes on class? So I can print it. Yeah. Here is a. Oh, wait a minute. Because some of you didn't get the everyone in the meeting. Here is the notes number 3. Okay, here's the notes number 3. If you need to print one, yeah, now you can get notes number 3 from the chat box. Now you can get notes number 3 from a chat box. If you need a hard copy, just now you can print out your hard copy of notes number 3. But what is the ED here, guys? What is the ED for my first example here? So you just plug these two numbers, 10%, 20% into this formula. Then you tell me what is the elasticity coefficient for my first example. Okay, Jason, what is the elasticity coefficient for my first example? So price increase by
Pardon?
10. What is the elasticity coefficient for my first example here? If a price increase by 10, quantity demanded decrease by 20%. 10%, 20%.
Negative
20% divided by 10%, you get so you don't know what is a what is a 20% divided by 10%?
It's 2.
Yeah, it's a 2, that's right. Okay, 2. Okay, but we don't care much about 2, but we care about the 2 now is greater than 1. 2 now is greater than 1. Greater than 1 is more important, because when your numerator greater than the denominator, then you can get like result greater than 1. So if you can get ED greater than 1, that means the change percentage change in quantity demanded is greater than the percentage changing on price. That means, okay, consumers, they are sensitive of price change. Okay, that is the indicator. Okay, indicating the demand curve now is elastic demand curve. Okay, next step, can someone else calculate the elasticity coefficient from my second example here? What about if a price increased by 10%, but the quantity demanded only decreased by 5%? Can someone calculate elasticity coefficient for me for my second example? The first one, yeah, Jason did the first one. ED equals to 2. What about second one? This time price increased by 10%, but quantity demanded is a 5%. So what is the ED here? Anthony, can you do the second one for me? Anthony, can you do the second one?
I'm
Or
sorry,
maybe it's
what?
against. Can you do the second example for me? What is the ED? What is the ED for my second example? If my second example was a price increased by 10%, quantity demanded decreased by 5%. So what is the ED?
Um,
So you do 5% divided by 10%, right? So what is a 5% divided by 10%?
0.5. 5, I guess.
Yeah, 0.5. Okay, ED now equals to 0.5. Okay, but so less than 1. Okay, if a numerator is less than the denominator. Okay, so less than 1, this is the indicator. If ED less than 1, this is the indicator, indicating that the demand curve now is called inelastic demand curve. And the consumers, yeah, due to whatever the reason, they don't care about price change. Okay, so far, yeah, based on the value of elasticity coefficient, we had 2 different types of elasticity relationship. Okay, either elastic or inelastic. Let's turn to next page. But we not only have 2 different types, but we have 5 different types of elasticity relationship. We did this one smaller than 1, and we did this one greater than 1. We actually have 3 more. If your ED exactly equal to 1, okay, then your demand curve is called unit elasticity. Okay, then it's called unit elastic. And the 2 more extreme cases, if your this one elasticity value equals to 0. If elasticity value equals to 0. Like in your math class, right? In your math class, 0 divided by anything. 0 divided by anything equals to 0. Okay, that means regardless how the price level will change, there is no change because of 0 here, because there is no change in quantity demand. So that means the consumers, they totally don't care about price change. They extremely don't care about price change. So this is called perfectly inelastic. If consumers, they totally don't care about price change, then professionally speaking, we see demand curve now is called a perfectly inelastic demand curve. Okay, last one, elasticity value. Elasticity coefficient can be called infinity. Infinity means a very, very, very big number. Okay, in the future, this symbol here, just as a mathematical symbol, you guys will learn this in the future if you take a calculus class. But this guy in math class just means a very, very big number. If the elasticity value is a very, very big number, that means the consumers, they extremely care about price change. And the demand curve now is perfectly elastic. Okay, so if no questions. Next step, try to understand the elasticity coefficient has a relationship with the slope of a demand curve. Most cases, okay, the slope of a demand curve is negatively sloping, but it's a negatively sloping curve, but a different kind of a demand curve has a different slopes, right? Your slope can be, your demand curve can be flatter, can be steeper. Yeah, so here we need to draw 5 different demand curves. So show you guys, yeah, what is the relationship. So what is the relationship between the slope of a demand curve and the elasticity coefficient? So this one we do infinity because we have 5 different types, right? So we first of all, let's do this one. Okay, my question is, should you demand curve if ED greater than 1, given ED greater than 1, should your demand curve like more steeper or more flatter? Take a guess. Should you, if ED greater than 1, representing, indicating all the consumers that they care about price change. Should your demand curve more steeper or more flatter? How does your demand curve looks like? It should be this one or this one. Okay, both these two curves are downward sloping curve, but should you choose A or B for ED greater than 1? A or B? Okay, just choose one, A or B. You can put your answer into the chat box so I can see A or B. If ED greater than 1, should your demand curve looks like A or should your demand curve look like B? A or B? Can you guys just input your answer into chat box A or B? If ED greater than 1, how I can draw my demand curve? Should be flatter or steeper? B? Yes, B. Yeah, B. Should it be a flatter curve? Okay, should be a flatter curve. Why? Because, yeah, graphically, when you got a flatter curve, yeah. Yes, a very smaller change, in price level can lead to a very big change in quantity demand, you see. Okay, given a flatter demand curve. Relatively speaking, okay, smaller change here in price level can lead to, you guys can see that, a very big change in quantity demanded number. Okay, so you use this one divided by this one, you can get ED greater than 1. Okay, next part, ED less than 1. So this time you got a very steeper demand curve. So this time is a different story. Very big change, a very big change in price level can lead to a very smaller change in quantity demanded level. So you use this one divided by this one. The numerator is less than the denominator, so you can get ED less than 1. Okay, what about the graph in the middle? If we how I draw a unit elasticity demand curve? So this one should be a downward sloping like a 45-degree line here. What do you mean by 45-degree line? So both these two angles here. Okay, they are 45 degree. Okay, this one is a 45 degree. Okay, so any change happened in the price level will lead to a exactly same change in the quantity demanded level. So these two, they are equal to each other. So the numerator equals the denominator, you can get ED equals 1. Okay, how about this one? How about the last one? Okay, after you done this 3 graph, okay, you can get a pattern, right? What kind of pattern? You moving from your left-hand side to right-hand side. When the elasticity value decreases, and finally the smallest value of ED is 0, right? It's 0. It's 0 here, right? So it's a vertical line. When the elasticity value getting smaller, like your demand curve become a more vertical. Okay, why finally the demand curves are vertical? Because regardless how you choose, how you set your price level, your price level can be very high, can be in the middle, can be very low, but quantity demand will fix that here, no change. That means, okay, that means they totally don't care about price change. Okay, that means they totally don't care about price change. Okay, finally, the left-hand side one. Okay, this time, demand curve is totally the horizontal line. Okay, and this intersection here is very meaningful. Let's add one more label. Okay, this is already this is called the highest price a consumer is willing to pay. The highest price a consumer is willing to pay. Okay, this one. Okay, if the price required by the seller higher than this level, even a little bit, remember, nobody will buy the products, regardless of how many units other consumers purchase. Yeah, but if the price is above this point, above this level, okay, the quantity demanded will fall to 0. Okay, but if the price required by the seller is lower than this one or equal to this price level, all the consumers, they are willing to buy any units. They are willing to buy any units. Once again, if the price required by the seller, if they want to increase the price, even just by a little bit, okay, the quantity demanded will fall to 0. Okay, this is called perfectly elastic. Okay, so far any questions? So far any questions? 5 different types of elasticity and 5 different demand curves. No questions. Okay, no questions, let's move on. So we did a lot of calculation, we draw a lot of graphs, get to model, get to count to model how much consumers they care about price change. Then finally, the last part of page number 2, let's talk about what are real life reasons. Why in real life you sometimes you care about price change? Why sometimes you don't care about price change? What kind of factor can increase the income elasticity? And what kind of factor can lower the income, not income, can lower the ED, the coefficient? Okay, so AP, okay, they will test you 3 factors, okay, totally 3 factors. Number 1, so ask yourself, you need to consider, if you want to buy A, if you want to buy something called A, okay, based on your personal idea, is there some like a substitution goods available? If you think you can use A to replace, if you can use B to replace A, for example, if you are considering purchasing a new smartphone, yeah, maybe you can choose iPhone. Yeah, you can choose iPhone, or you can choose maybe Samsung. Yeah, if you think you can use a Samsung as a replacement, if you think the relationship, if you think there's no big difference between iPhone and Samsung, okay, then what will happen? Then you will not tolerate Apple company, they increase the price every time when they introduce their new iPhone, right? Like right now, I guess they are introducing the next generation iPhone. It's called iPhone what? iPhone 15 or something. If you think the price of iPhone 15 is too high, and you think there's no big difference between iPhone and Samsung, maybe this time you will choose a Samsung. You will use a B as a replacement to A. That means you don't tolerate the increase their price. So you are care about price change. So your demand curve for Samsung is called elastic demand curve. Okay, but some of you, every time you must buy iPhone. Okay, you don't think you can use Samsung as a replacement, as a substitution to your iPhone. Every time you must buy iPhone, okay, in that case, you will tolerate, right? You can tolerate, okay, Apple company, they will increase the price every time, every year when they introduce next generation new iPhone. Okay, so that means, okay, the demand curve is inelastic. You are inelastic. Your demand curve for iPhone is inelastic. Okay, this is the first factor. Okay, depends on your personal idea, whether or not you think whether or not there are some substitutions goods available. Number B, whether your purchasing behavior can be delayed. In real life, in some urgent cases, okay, you must get something right away. You must purchase something immediately. Okay, imagine you are like driving a car on the highway, okay, but you find out you need to refuel your gasoline immediately. So in that case, in this urgent case, you don't care about the gasoline price of today. Regardless of what is the gasoline price, at least you need to get home, you need to refuel some, even at least some gasolines, enough for getting home. Right? So in these urgent cases, you don't care about price change, so your demand curve is inelastic. But if you have time, if your purchasing behavior can be delayed, so as a consumer, you want to save money for yourself, you will choose a timing, you will choose a time point where the price level is lower. Okay, given more time, if your purchasing behavior can be delayed, okay, that means your demand curve is elastic. That means you care about the gasoline price. Or last one, okay, last factor, whether the purchase requires a larger proportion of your income. So be careful here. I'm not talking about the absolute value, absolute level of a price. I'm talking about, okay, the percentage your purchase, okay, take up your total income. So for example, people care about how the housing market will change in Vancouver, right? If you are family are considering buy a house in Vancouver, cost you maybe $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, so much money. Okay, that is a big part of your total income, lifelong income. In that case, you care about the price change. Okay, because that is a large part of your lifelong income. By contrast, okay, people don't care about how the pencil price will change tomorrow. Right, you heard from your parents, right? The people talk about how the housing market will change. People care about whether or not the price of our house will increase or decrease, but the people don't care about how the pencil price will change. Why? Because the price of a pencil, it just is a $1, $2. It just is a very, very small part of your total income. So we don't care about how the pencil price will change in the future. Okay, so let's make a conclusion here. Okay, larger proportion means elastic, smaller proportion means inelastic. Okay, so for any questions? No questions? No questions, let's move on. ED has one more very important application in firm theory. when you build your own business, okay, when you produce your own product and supply them to market, you need to do something as a business owner, as a producer. You guys need to do something called a pricing strategy. Right, you need to know, okay, when you should increase your price, when you should lower your price for making more money. In real life, as a consumer, so you guys can buy so many different things, right? Right, if you buy smartphone, yeah, you can choose either you can buy iPhone, you can choose a different brands. I mean, you can choose iPhone, you can choose Samsung. Yeah, you can choose like between Starbucks and Tim Hortons. If you guys want to buy a car, you can buy maybe Toyota or Honda, or you can buy more luxury brand like a BMW. Yeah, but different brands, different company, the most of the fundamental difference, one fundamental difference is they do different so-called pricing strategy. Okay, some brand, some companies, they charge you higher level price. I mean, compared with their competitors. If you compare Starbucks, if you compare Tim Hortons, I guess the general price, kind of the average price level of Starbucks is higher than Tim Hortons. So I mean, they do a high pricing strategy. So for Tim Hortons, if their coffee price is lower a little bit compared with the Starbucks, they do something called a low pricing strategy. Okay, so if you have your own business, how you choose your pricing strategy? Okay, the answer is depends on what kind of a targeted consumer group you are targeting about, you are facing about. Okay, the ever final conclusion is here. Okay, if ED greater than 1, if demand elasticity is a greater 1, that means if your targeted consumer group, they are care about our price change. For now, we don't care about what is the reason, okay, like why they care about the price change. Maybe due to lower income, maybe due to they have more substitutions. So yeah, blah blah blah, a lot of reason. We don't care about that for now. But if you know they care about price change, remember you should lower the price to make more money. Okay, let's draw a graph here to prove that what I said is right. Okay, when ED greater than 1, when demand curve is a flatter curve. When ED greater than 1, when the demand curve is a flatter curve. Okay, initially you set your price equals to P number 1 and the corresponding. Okay, I mean if you set the price equals to P number 1 and the Q number 1. Okay, so do you guys know how to calculate the total business revenue? Total business revenue formulas are here. Total business revenue just a P times a Q. If you are Starbucks, the coffee price is $10. How many units you produce today? Sell today 100 units. So 10 times 100 units. So your business revenue today is $1,000. So this big red shaded area equals to P times Q. So this is a business revenue you earned when you set price equals to P number 1, when you produce the quantity at Q number 1. Next step. If you can lower the price, okay, let's lower your price a little bit. Okay, if you can lower your price a little bit, you see, if you lower your price a little bit from P number 1 to P number 2, you see your quantity demand can increase really by a lot. And the profit area now is the blue area. So guess which one is bigger? So guess which one is bigger? Which one's bigger? Blue one's bigger, right? So I can prove that, yeah, when price decreases, so quantity demand will increase really by a lot, so you can make more profit. Okay, maybe we can do this, okay, to make everything clear. You label this one by A, you label this one by B, like the overlap part is a B, and this one's a C. When you set your price equals to P number 1, okay, the total business revenue equals to A plus B. When you can lower your price a little bit to P number 2, okay, you can get the total business revenue is a B and C. Okay, you decrease your price, you are losing part A, but you get additional C, but you can get C, but you can see from the graph, C for sure is a greater than A. So that means the total revenue now is increasing. Okay, so once again, what I did here, I proved that if you think your targeted consumer, due to whatever the reason, they are those kind of people who care about price change. What should you do for making more money? You should try your best to lower your price. Lower your price to attract more consumers, so then you can make more money. Any questions? Okay, if no questions, okay, give you maybe 5 minutes. So you guys try the graph here. For number 3 here. Okay, so you try the okay similar graph, okay, pretty much the same graph, but for this one. You just try the graph for the question number 3 by yourself first. Pretty much is the same thing, right? Because here if I did a flatter demand curve, but for here you just make your demand curve more steeper. You just make your demand curve more steeper, and you randomly choose 2 price level, and you compare which profit, which price level, higher or lower price level can lead to a big profit. Okay, then you can identify should you increase the price or lower the price. You finish? Finish? How you guys draw the graph for the third one? Can somebody show your answer maybe? Who finishes the graph for question 3? Okay, I saw. Okay, so I can draw the graph for you guys for number 3, but this time you just need a very steeper demand curve. Okay, like when you set P number 1 here, when you set P number 1 here, you can make this much money. Okay, so this one is called P number 1, this is called Q number 1. So P times Q together, so the area of this is a square. Okay, is the total profit, right? So how about we increase the price? Okay, how about we increase the price to here? Okay, this is a called P number 2. Okay, this is called Q number 2. Okay, you can tell. Okay, hopefully you can tell the blue area should be greater than the red area. Yeah. The blue area should greater than the red area. Or if we do this, okay, we label this one by A, we label this one overlap part by B, this one is a C. Okay, so that means when you set P equals to P number 1, the total business revenue equals to B plus C. Okay, if you increase your price to P number 2, okay, so the area is A plus B. So if you increase your price, you will lose part C, but you will get additional A. And you can tell A should be greater than C. Okay, so this time the total revenue can be increased. A should be greater than C, right? The overlap part is called B, so A should be greater than C. Okay, so total revenue. So the total revenue now can increase. Okay, this is how we use ED. Okay, as a business owner, as a firm, yeah, how you do your pricing strategy. Yeah, you can increase your price or lower the price, but it depends on your like a targeted consumer. Yeah, if you know they are once again they are care about price change, using our first graph, you can prove you lower the price, your total revenue will increase. Okay, if ED greater than 1, you lower the price, total revenue can increase. And graphically speaking, when your demand curve is a flatter curve, okay, you should every time you should lower the price to attract more consumers, so you can make more money. But this time, imagine you are those luxury brand company, right? Luxury goods, yeah. Your targeted consumers, they don't care about your price. Yeah, due to higher level brand loyalty, or maybe due to, yeah, they have a lot of money, they can make their income level is very high. Due to whatever the reason, if they don't care about your price, yeah, for sure, yeah, naturally, yeah, that is a good opportunity for making money. So you increase the price. So you increase the price. Yes, the quantity demanded will decrease a little bit, but the retained consumers, still they are willing to pay higher price. Even though the quantity demanded increase a little bit, you still can make more money. Okay, your business revenue still can increase. Your business revenue, once again, just equals to P times the Q. Business revenue price, your product price times how many units you can produce, you can sell. So P times the Q, okay, is this area. So graphically speaking, okay, we use this area, okay, area representing the total business revenue because the P times the Q, okay, is the area of this square. Okay, then this week let's do. Okay, what's your homework? Homework. Let's do. Let's do 2015, 2010. Okay, homework this week. Everybody, let's do A and B. Okay, just A number 1 and A number 2. So page 54 for your microeconomics. Page 54. Just do 3 number 1 and 3 number 2. Just 3 number 1 and 3 number 2. Okay, for practicing how you calculate elasticity coefficient. Okay, and page 54. Any questions? Any more questions? No questions? No questions. This is for this week. Yeah. See you next week. If you have questions, you can stay here. We can talk about your questions.
See you. Bye.
Bye bye.